Well, I think we're live right now. We're a little bit early in the evening, and we would like to thank you so much for subscribing to our channel on YouTube and also our page on Facebook. This is a daily vlog. We're trying actually to make it on a daily basis, but since there's so many often interruptions going on, it's really hard, to maintain a daily basis kind of vlog. It's a sort of motivational kind of content where I try to present to you something that just puts you on the track of language learning. We started, probably this is the first live in 2021, and we try to initiate this year by pushing you a little bit further in your language learning journey. And this does not happen, without effort. You have to put so much effort. You have to invest in so many activities that can help you become so much better in language. I was checking LinkedIn website, which is a kind of Facebook alternative for job seekers around the world. And I could see that the majority of the jobs that are there are dedicated to English speakers. It's particularly geared towards those people who have the faculty of English language and are able to communicate effectively and strategically using English. And this just affirmed my concerns that one of the key features of being successful in 2021 is your mastery of English language. And the mastery of English language does not happen overnight. And I've been super emphasizing that. It happens after consistent amount of trial and error. It happens after consistent amount of contact with speakers from all walks of life. It happens after so much reading. You need to try different kinds of book genres. Once you settle in a kind of genre, and genre means the kind of theme of books, whether that's adventure, romance, horror, detective stories. These kind of genres are going to entice and attract some people to read more and investigate language more. So I'm reading through your notes, and if you have any questions during this live broadcast, I would definitely be happy to address them individually once you write down the question, or you send it to my Facebook page, and I will try to address as many questions as possible. Well, I'll cover all the questions, inshallah. So this is, again, the first live broadcast that we do for 2021, and I want to tell you something. You should learn English. Now, the question is not, the statement that I'm giving to you right now is not is not to tell you or to guide you, but to force you. It's an obligation. You should learn English. If you're not learning English, you should start learning English. English is one of the major components. It's the basis, it's the foundation of being successful in modern private and government sector. Once you secure a good mastery of English in the intermediate, you do not necessarily have to be fluent and 100% accurate in language. Believe it or not, I've met hundreds of people from all the world where I studied with 51 nationalities, and I spoke with most of them. I've been to so many conferences. Those people who go to these conferences do not master English 100%. They master to a satisfactory level of being understood by those people who are talking to them. But just to tell you that at any point, I'll just cut the live broadcast because of electricity conditions here. Going back to my point that you should learn English language. English is an obligation in 2021. It's the language of the internet. It's the language of the books. It's the language of research. It's a language of science. People become publishable once they secure good mastery of English, but that does not mean you have to be Chomsky level of English or Blomfield level of English. And for those who are asking about those people, they are linguists. You do not need to be a translator. You do not need to be a linguist. You do not need to be a professor in English language. You do not have to go to study at university to master English language. Actually, I have a big question mark about that last one. But you just have to learn the language from YouTube or from Facebook groups. You can just go over the recommendations and the kind of books that are available at your disposal. And you just need to dedicate 1 hour for 3 months or 4 months. Try to develop certain habit, like every morning I read 10 pages. Like I show you, like on my document here, in my agenda for the morning, what I do, I write 5 things that I should and I'm obligated to do before I go to sleep. These 5 things are majorly language related. Well, they are majorly language related because they are part of my field of study and they are part of my field of research and they are part of my field of my work. So I am obligated to work on 3 to 5 things. I accomplish almost 3 to 4 on a daily basis, depending on the variables out there. But the point to be made here is straightforwardly, English is an obligation to you. Don't just sit back and relax. Oh, he's jabbering about this language and it's not important. No, it is. It's important language. Once things collapse, hopefully not, but once things collapse in the government sector and jobs are not going to be available anymore, you are going to explore private sector. And one of the major components of private sector is profitability, and profitability comes from talent, and talent comes from the multifaceted, multitasking skills of people who are being hired. And when I checked LinkedIn this morning, most of the jobs that are offered there were around 500 jobs. The majority of these jobs were asking for people who master English. So mastery of English language is a major component of your mastery of language eventually. You need also to listen to podcasts. I have said that 100 times probably. Podcast is a form of MP3, but it's usually an interview between 2 people. So go to YouTube, you'll find hundreds of them. And some of them are downloadable. Find something within your field of interest, whether that's politics, biology, chemistry, math, English, any sort of science that is within your field of, or within your territory of interest. Try to demarcate that and put it under your periscope or microscope and just go deep. You have to be crazy with language, and I'm not exaggerating. Language learning does not come from regular people. If you're a regular standard person, believe it or not, you're not gonna learn this language. You have to go crazy. You have to be very passionate. But passionate is not descriptively exact word to say. You have to be crazy about it. To be crazy about it, you have to think about it every second of your life. It's a long journey. It's like 20 years, 15 years, depending on that. But that's for the longitudinal period. I'm not talking about that, but taking a few courses, mastering it in 1 year is really enough. From that point, you're going to start to explore other fields within language, and that is going to get you attracted to the gravity of the beauty of this language. Once you explore the window of English literature or poetry or drama or romance, they're crazy. You will love this language so much. Once you open this kind of window, it's going to be an access to you to learn Italian and Spanish and German. Majorly speaking, these languages have contributed so much. They were the tributaries that added so many vocabulary to English language, and English is originally Germanic language, and learning it is going to open new window to you to explore other languages if you're interested to expand and become a multilingual person, or what we call polyglot. So going back to my point, just listen to podcasts. Write it down. Get a pen, grab a pen, write it down. Listen to podcasts for 15 minutes every day. And that's enough. Fair enough. Listen again to it. There's one I will add in the description of this video once the live is over, and it's for Voice of America. Voice of America. It's a great podcast. It's listening with text. So you're watching the text being read to you by a native speaker, and you're listening to it, and you see the writing. It's quite impressive. And once you're listening, you can listen twice, and you can write down the words that are not familiar to you. And once you write down these words, they're going to become your source of focus. Once you master them, listen to another podcast. You will accumulate. So what we are doing, we're pretty much accumulating vocabulary to a level of mastering the language to be able to speak. And I'm not asking you to go for the advanced level. Just go for the intermediate level. Just try to be understandable person. Try to understand what people are talking about in news. And once in a while, you'll come across a word that's some sort of strange word that you haven't seen before, which is really okay. It's okay because everybody learns new vocabulary. Even native speakers don't have a mastery of all the vocabulary in English language. Actually, some studies show that the academic person, not the lay person, the normal person, the academic person knows around 30,000 words, which is the amount of words in dictionary. And they use commonly 3,000 out of 3,000. They reciprocate and, rotate 400 words. So statistically speaking, you're not obligated to learn all the spectrum of English vocabulary that have to do with legalese or economy or biochemistry. You just need to understand the most common vocabulary that are prevalent in English language, that are reciprocated among native speakers, to understand and be understood. And it's a message. People will understand you if you speak. Speak to be understood. That's a slogan that we commonly and often hear by Arab speakers. There is some recommendations to read English, Arabic stories. So one page is in English and the other page is in Arabic. And to be honest, I've had some, and I've given some to speakers, to learners, but they didn't work because they are applicable to very limited number of people. They're not applicable to everybody. So because they are not generalizable to the whole spectrum of English learners, because we are in EFL context, which is English as a foreign language, where we do not have that many stimuli society wise. And we just need to generate stimuli in order to react to the stimuli. And from that reaction to stimuli, we'll trigger certain vocabulary in our mind. By triggering, this process is going to generate language and language will become active, not passive. So we're dealing with active, passive variables out there, and dealing with active, passive variables demands a little bit of challenge by generating as many scenarios and as many conditions to use certain expressions that are matching certain conditions. I remember a few days ago, a learner contacted me and she said, by the end of the message, never mind. And never mind is translated to Arabic يعني لا تهتم. يعني بعض الأحيان يترجموها لا تهتم. بس كلمة never mind, I knew she learned from dictionary. لأنه كلمة never mind تستخدم استخدام محدد جدا. يعني أنه نستخدمها بعض الأحيان حتى ندل على أنه أوكي إحنا ضجنا من موضوع لأنه الطرف الثاني مهتم بالسؤال أو ما استمع إلى بطريقة جيدة، فنقول له never mind. يعني Did you fix a cup of coffee to me? Huh? I'm sorry, what you said? What did you say? Never mind. فهذا هاي الطريقة انه we have to see how words and expressions are used in English. And in order to see them, we have to collect, to amass, A-M-A-S-S. We need to amass as many videos to be watched as possible. Once we amass this amount of videos, we are going to become very familiar with the word and the context of use. And there have been extensive and comprehensive amount of studies on that particular thing that I'm talking about right now. Taking English courses. Well, it depends. Lots of centers are very commercially oriented centers. And this is not generalizable. I'm talking about very specific personal experiences where I send students because based on their geographic location and the proximity and vicinity of their location to the center that are being sent to, they get disappointed because the quality of training, the quality of teachers' preparation to deliver the courses are not on the level of expected proficiency. And they end up being very disappointed and they just quit learning just because the bad experience. So they just develop this sort of negative reaction to language just because of their perception of language coming through the lens of the kind of quality of classes that they get with teachers who are not fully qualified to teach the materials to deliver good quality and acceptable level of language learning. And that just kind of like develops this sorts of negative reaction among them. Watching movies in second language subtitle is highly recommended if movies are socially related. When we talk about language, we see in scripts of movies, we're talking about very talented script writers and screenwriters, and they just choose words and expressions that have to do with certain age and certain age group and certain time. Like we're talking about Western movies, they use English coming from the West during the 1900s. So that kind of time did not have the same quality of English that we do have right now. That is more accessible to public and understood and clear to everyone. So try to be very careful with the kind of genre of movies that you're watching. I recommend watching socially related movies or Disney or one of the movies that are dedicated to children, because like watch Soul, the last movie that I watched this year, starting this year. It's really good quality movie that has big human related messages to tell to humanity. And just be realistic about your level. You're not going to be able to figure out your real level in English. You need to have a professional instructor to tell you about your weaknesses, because learners do know what they want, but they don't know what they need. So if you say, well, I'm good at grammar, well, believe it or not, you have no idea what English grammar is. It's so deep. It's really complicated. So if you're talking about the grammar, we see in textbooks, that's not grammar. That's the tip of the iceberg. So you're gonna just be realistic about the level that you are in. Be prepared to embrace new challenges, because what challenges you changes you, and that is where the major component of success comes. Success in language is probably the combination of all the failures you had in language, and you just need to strategically prepare to deal with this kind of protocol to be able to overcome the challenges. Lots of people don't read, so I'm not saying that you're going to be I'm not going to obligate you to read certain things to be able to be successful language learner. Not necessarily. You just need to listen. This is a generation of listening and watching and speaking. So focus on these components. You're going to master that language. And the case study of children watching and learning English like native speakers from YouTube are so common in the Iraqi society. You can come across lots of people who have developed good knack of language and became bilingual by default just by watching YouTube. So that's a good case, promising case where you can understand and be understood using YouTube. YouTube is really an asset to any language learner. And last but not least, if you feel that certain books are not good, are not helping you learn English, if you're focusing on one book or one video channel that just complicates things, just quit it. Just try something different. Because every learner is unique. And their uniqueness is determined by the kind of exposure, experience, background, education level, major of study, future interests. All of these variables are going to contribute to what you need to do with language. If you're planning to immigrate, if you're planning to learn to get a master's degree, if you're planning to get a PhD, and all of that is going to contribute to how much effort you are going to invest in this language. Try to put deadlines to yourself. Putting deadlines to yourself is going to help you catapult yourself faster to the next level. And the galvanizing certain kind of stratagems also is going to help you become English learner and become successful English learner. If you notice that I'm using intentionally certain academic words in this listening because I want this listening to be accessible and usable by advanced level students and intermediate level students and beginners. So I'm distributing. I cannot satisfy everybody. I am not perfect. I am not excellent. I'm trying to work to become professional language teacher, and the more experiences I get and exposed to, the little person I become within this territory of language. And you need to understand that you need to go humbly and modestly about your learning. Do not brag, do not show off. Just be modest, learn it, share it, and definitely you will get to a point of satisfaction with language. I would like to thank you so much for your listening to this lovely session. This is going to be a listening practice to you. I'm doing it live with you. I thank everybody here. I'm thanking Muhammad Amin, Arkan, Nisreen, Bashar, Ma'an, and everybody else. Nada, Qadir, thank you so much for being so much dedicated viewers of my channel on YouTube and my Facebook page. I love you so much. I would like to ask you to always be positive, stay positive, plan for this year, and try to make the most of your time. I'm getting stuck. Try to make the most out of your time by learning this beautiful language and try to explore it more and more, and you'll definitely ace it. ربي يحفظكم. كانوا معكم مدرب اللغة وليد خالد. نلتقي بكم بسيشن أخرى، ولازم ألحق على الدرس لأن عندي درس آخر مع متدربين، لكن ما حبيت أنساكم. هذا مجرد تذكير. حاولت أتحدث استخدام مصطلحات شوية أكاديمية وشوية متوسطة وشوية مبتدئين. دا أتحدث بسرعة بسبب ضيق الوقت، بس حبيت يكون هذا درس استماع لك. هذا درس هو للاستماع. أنت مجرد تتابعني، حتى لو ما تفهم 100% من اللي أنا تحدثت به، 50% 40%، إذن أنت إذا 30% أو 40%، إذن أمامك 60%، إذن أنت في منتصف الطريق. فبالتالي إمكانيتك على تجميع المفردات الجديدة راح يساهم في زيادة وعيك بهذه اللغة وأهميتها وجماليتها واستخدامك لها باحترافية. أنا متأكد بنهاية هذه السنة، إذا مو قبل نهاية هذه السنة، أي واحد متابع لهاي الصفحة راح يجيد اللغة الإنجليزية. أنا متأكد من هذا الشيء. ربي يحفظكم ونلتقي بكم بدرس آخر بإذن الله.